Welcome back to Storytime. In today's episode, we're going to be continuing our summertime theme with the prompt, you're resting on a sandy beach with a bucket of iced beers when a sea creature emerges from the waves, sits down next to you, grabs a beer, cracks it open, and takes a swig. The sea creature sighs and says, you would not believe the day I've had. Today's story comes from user YU2. I choked on the sip I had just taken and stared at the creature before me in bewilderment for a moment. I couldn't help myself. I bursted out with laughter. It stared back at me with its fish-like eyes as its second eyelid flicked shut and then opened again. I'm sorry, I began. It's just that, well, I motioned vaguely towards the enormous dripping monster that had moments before crawled towards me from the depths of the sea without warning. He made a sound that, if I could have claimed to have been sound of mind, I would have thought almost sounded like a chuckle. Yes, was all it said, continuing to stare at me, gills heaving. Well, I began, finally able to compose myself. What happened to you today? Its mouth opened with a wet suction sound, appearing to be contemplating what to say next. Well, I suppose I'll start from the beginning. His deep voice gurgled somewhere from within his abdomen, or what I assume was his abdomen. He stared off at the waves that continued to crash in front of us before turning his massive orb-shaped head towards me. There was once a wise and revered creature. The Norsemen referred to me as a god, the Scottish a monster, but an important one nonetheless. The Greek, a powerful Poseidon himself, and the English, they saw me as the enemy. He stopped again, and I realized I hadn't been uncomfortable until that moment. Taking inventory of the magnitude of the being beside me and the way he had described himself as a historical legend, I realized that this creature could, if it desired, completely eradicate me from existence. I felt myself tensing up, waiting for what was next. It must have been fairly obvious because the looming self-proclaimed sea monster to my left leaned in towards me. Please relax. This is where the story gets good. He leaned backward into the white sand and appeared to be making himself more comfortable. Oh, okay, was all I could manage. I'll spare you the details, but it's been an exhausting life. Exciting, yes, but the sort of things I've seen and done take a toll after the first millennia or so. I began to reevaluate my sanity when I thought I saw him smile. Because I've decided to retire. Somewhere peaceful. Somewhere that no one will be able to look for me. Somewhere where I can't be troubled. I wasn't able to keep my thoughts together in a cohesive format, so I simply nodded and waited for him to speak again. This time, he definitely smiled, and again made a deep chuckling sound I interpreted as a laugh. I took a mental note of the many rows of pointed yet worn teeth that lined his mouth. He began again. So I'll tell you the truth. He took a gulp of the beer in his nearly human-esque fin. I had to go through the whole bureaucratic process to denounce my status as creature of the deep, he emphasized, knowing full well that I was still unsure as to what to call him. So, I said, somewhat dazed, what happened? He cocked his head to the side and thrust his beer-wielding fin into the air towards the sea. You know bureaucrats. He took a long pull from his bottle and turned to face me again. They're all the same. Fishy. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, go ahead and hit that like button. And for more story time, go ahead and subscribe for more stories every week. But until next time, see you later.